Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now I've got something really astonishing today to show you, and I only found this morning, and you can see I posted this about 11 hours ago, so this was early this morning. I posted this on Mars magazine, and I'm now doing a report on it for you. I'll enlarge that for you. This was taken by the Chem on the Curiosity rover, Sol 2900, a giant head or face of a man with a black beard and an eye here and an eye here and a sort of slightly flattened nose and a mouth here, and it's on the edge of this butte. Now this I estimate to be this actual face or head carving, three-dimensional carving. I estimate this to be about 40 feet high, thereabouts. It may be 50, it may be 30, but it's in that region of size. It's absolutely huge. And others this size have been found in Gale Crater recently, which I have shown on my channel. So if you're new to this channel, suspend your disbelief until you at least see some of the things that I've shown before. Now, this photograph was taken by the Chem, and at the moment that this was taken, I'm going to show you where it was taken from. Now, this gigapan is one I put up a week or two ago, and this shows the Forbidden City up here. You've got close up of the Forbidden City. So there are buildings on Mount Sharp in Gale Crater. I named it the Forbidden City years and years ago, early on in my channel, mainly because NASA refused to talk about it, because they know full well that if they did talk about it, they would not be able to deny what it is, which is why they don't talk about it. But because basically NASA are being gagged by men in dark suits, okay? And you can do your own research on who those people are. I'm not going to get into that now. Now, currently, the rover has driven across this lake bed here towards the Forbidden City. Now, we've got the Forbidden City here, up here, and the rover has driven across this area here. It's actually gone round this side, round this way, and across, and it's kind of gone over to here, and is currently in this area, right? So just below the causeway that goes up towards the Forbidden City here. You've got the Forbidden City up there, and there's a causeway that goes all the way up here. You could drive up here. So they may well go along here to here, and then drive up this slope and come up to here, and then look back down, and what we'd be able to see then, if they ever get up there, that is, we will see a lot of these buildings up close. And I think this is one of the reasons why they haven't gone up there yet, is because it would be difficult to deny what they're photographing with the cameras, because there's multiple wrecked and ruined buildings up here. It may look like a pile of rocks, but we've got structures here, big structures, and some of these are hundreds of feet high, including giant pyramids and huge domes, which I've shown before. But basically the rover is currently in this area and is pointing the camera along the base of Mount Sharp, sort of looking across here at these butte structures, which are up here, right? In fact, we need to go on to the next part of the pan here, because it's looking all the way down here, right down to the other end of the lake bed here, towards this. And this, I think, is the area where this giant head, who I'm calling the Emperor, by the way, this is where it's looking. We've got a butte here. Now, I've done a number of videos on these buttes before in the past. I'll link to some of those in the description as well. And at the end of this video, I'll put some clips of some of these buttes. This thing is hundreds and hundreds of feet long and probably over 200 feet high, okay, this one here. This is one of the largest ones. But they're not very clear in here because it's quite bright. Whereas in the actual gigapan I've got up here, you can see it's looking down the edge of the mountain, and there's a butte here. It's not the same one as that, but it's the one behind it, right? We've got this one here, right? And then we've got the edge of the next one here, where we have the giant carved effigy of a man with a beard who looks like a king, just here. So basically the camera's zoomed right down the base of Mount Sharp, right along the lake bed, and looking at these from a different angle from what I just showed you, okay? It's a bit complicated, but that's what it is. And there's a whole bunch of these buttes. I'm going to show you some more in a minute. There's loads of them. And some of them are artificial. Some of them are ruined buildings. Some of them have chambers in them. Some of them have entrances and windows. Some of them have defensive weaponry mounted on them, as I've shown before. So this was a defensive perimeter of Mount Sharp, okay, which was a military base as well as an ancient city, okay? All these things correlate and have been shown in previous videos, okay? And there it is. You can see it pretty clearly. There's a head there. You can see it. It's a bit dark in this image. When you make the Gigapan images with the software, it plays with the brightness of them to match them up, and they often go quite dark, unfortunately. So there was that one. So let's have a look at that again. I'll just point out these details up close. Let's get in really close, and let me show you the fine detail in here, because this is not a coincidence. And when you have things like giant sphinxes, pyramids, and wrecked boats and ships and all sorts of other things in the area, multiple buildings and ruins everywhere, then this is pretty likely, 80 or 90% likely to be actually carved and not just some random rocks that look a bit like a head. They don't look just a bit like a head or a face. They look a hell of a lot like one. And there are certain details in here that say this is to me. You can see here, there's a mouth, there's a nose with a nostril. You can see the nostril coming up like this. Nose comes around like that, up to here. We've got an eye here, very dark. Another eye there. You can see the other cheekbone sticking out here. Big cheekbone sticking out there, coming down. And we have a black, very prominent goatee sort of beard here. Okay? And there's the jaw coming round. This is not a coincidence. These are too specific to be coincidences, in my opinion. Way too specific. Let's go in really close and have a look at that eye. Look at the eye. We have eye detail. Comes up like that, and then there's the eye there. You can see an actual eye shape, like an eyeball. There's the other eye, which is slightly out of shot. The edge of the nose is here. Comes to here, goes down in a sort of point, similar to the nose, I would say, on the giant Sphinx, which I'm going to show you in a second if you haven't seen that already. Mouth. Very prominent black goatee beard. And we've got the eye detail there. We've got a very pronounced cheekbone detail coming round like this. Let's do that again. Right. And this is part of the other one here. They've got very pronounced cheekbones, some of these Martians, these ancient Martians. And I've got plenty of evidence for that and many examples to show that as well. So you can compare the facial details. And the forehead obviously comes up like this, and it's kind of joined to that. Now obviously I've colorized it just to make it stand out. But you can actually see, when you zoom back, you can actually see what looks like a shoulder here, and part of the body here, okay? So, and when you look on this part of it here, let's have a look. You can see the shoulder, upper torso, head, chin, and the head sort of kind of goes right up into this butte structure here with a sort of massive headdress or something, maybe. This is quite eroded. This is probably 1 million years old. Like a lot of these things in Gale Crater, this is a very, very ancient crater and goes back billions of years. Because basically we have a very deep crater, which is 3 miles deep, one of the deepest on Mars. It's about 93, I think it's 93 miles across. It did have a lake in it, which is now dried out. The lake is surrounded by dead animals that died when the water evaporated rapidly during a climate disaster or cataclysm. And basically there was also a nuclear war on Mars. Not all these things necessarily happened at the same time, but over a number of years. And we have buildings, ruins, wrecks, frozen dead animals which are now mummified and preserved, and hundreds of heads and skulls and carvings and burials and graves and all those things in this area. So if you're new to my channel, you need to go back and watch at least some of my recent videos which show some of these things. But I've got evidence of this going back 7 years now, nearly 8 years. Okay, so this is not made up. This is real, tangible, provable, and cross-referenced material that can be dated back and referenced with all the downloadable images from NASA. Okay, now just because NASA haven't announced it doesn't mean it's not real. NASA do not announce things unless they are given permission to, and they are not being given permission by somebody, okay? And it isn't the president, okay? It's somebody else, right? So think about that. There we have it. I mean, what can I say? I'm calling this the Emperor because he looks very much like, as I've got up here, Emperor Ming from Flash Gordon. This was from the 1920s or 30s. This was shot. Okay. Now, ignore the moustache, but he's got a similar sort of beard and quite severe looking face. Okay. This ain't no ordinary dude, right? You don't get carvings this big carved on the side of mountainous buttes unless you're someone really important. Okay. So that's why I'm calling this the Emperor. And you can really see that black beard is astonishing. Now let's compare it to some of the others in the area. Like I said, up here I've also got the giant Sphinx. Now I recently did this new gigapan of it here, which shows 2 gigapans with the Sphinx in both of them. We got a gigapan here with one angle and another one here with another angle. But the best one to look at is this one. This is the most recent, brighter, more detailed image. He's also got quite a long nose, which kind of points down like this, like we're seeing with the Emperor today. Now this is the giant Sphinx. This is hundreds of feet long. It's at least 240, 50 feet long, and if you count it from here to here, the actual base of it is probably over 300, okay? This is massive, and it's even got an entrance type thing here with a window in the front. But if you look at the facial details, we have that same, similar, long, slightly flat nose, but that goes to a point downwards like this, okay? Very similar, okay? So there's some similar facial morphology going on here. So, and no one's ever disputed this either, including NASA. So these things do exist. And just because you haven't been told by someone in a white kind of in white overalls, or someone in a uniform or in a suit, just because someone in a suit hasn't told you it on the TV doesn't mean it's not real. People have to get over this fact. I'm going to give you a taster of some of the stuff we have here. We have multiple ruins in this area, which we haven't seen in very good detail before because we were too low down. Now we're a bit higher up. We're looking down, across and down at a lot of the ruins at the base of Mount Sharp here. And there's loads of crazy structures here, like this, here. So I will do some enhancements of these things and show you them at the end of the video. I'm not going to spend too long on this now, but we have multiple structures here. Here's a lot of these buttes here. These are near the butte where the Emperor is. The Emperor is over to the right of this, on the other side of this mound here, okay? And basically we got multiple complex ruined structures, not only at the base of Mount Sharp here, but also up in the background on some of the lower slopes of Mount Sharp up here. So I'm going to do some clips of these, put them in at the end for you. I'll just give a shout out to my buddy over at Chris over at Mars Anomalies. Check out one of his recent videos. He recently put up this video called "Why is NASA really going to Mars Jezero crater?" which he put up yesterday. This is a part 2, effectively a part 2 to the video that I did a few days ago, which is this one, Mars Jezero crater, artificial dome structures, which was about a week ago. So he's done a part 2 to this, and he's found some crazy stuff near these domes that I showed, in the ground there's all these kind of weird structures around this stuff which he's managed to pull out, which is really interesting. So I do recommend you go along to his channel and check out the part 2 to this, and also subscribe to his channel as well. He's sent people to my channel to watch this one, part 1, and I'm now sending you, if you've seen this part 1, to go and see part 2 on his channel, okay? And if you want a link to his channel, you can either just look it up, Mars Anomalies, or you can, if you like, you can just scroll to the bottom of my channel page and there's a link to his channel here in my featured channels along with Jean Ward. Both very good researchers here, really good. Some really cool stuff on their channel, so I do recommend that. So go along and subscribe and check out part 2 to the Jezero crater video, which is this one, okay? Which you should be able to find pretty easily. I'll put a link to that in the comments as well, okay? And in the description, so you can click on that as well, okay? So you should be able to find it nice and easily. So go along and subscribe, check it out, and you'll see some other crazy things that he's found near these domes that I showed a week ago. There's some crazy structures in the ground in and around this area, all right? So there it is, a giant face on Mars. This one is in quite astonishing detail. Let's have one last look at it before we go. Let's go in close, let's go right in. This is high quality imagery here, much higher quality than we normally get. And even when you zoom in, you can see that nostril, that nose, the eye, with pupil detail there, a slightly smiling mouth, very prominent cheekbones, sticking out like this, edge of the face coming up here, obviously, and then we have the jaw coming down with a very prominent black beard here, which is absolutely astonishing. One of the best ever faces, or what I would call carved three-dimensional heads on Mars ever seen. This is huge. 40 feet, maybe 50, could be more. Okay, thanks for watching everybody. See you soon.